Hey guys, it's your buddy Caden with your Money Minutes, where I interview millionaires and they give us advice on helping families in business. Today, my special guest is Mr. David Moody. Mr. David Moody Jr. is the president and chief executive officer of CD Moody Construction Company, a Black enterprise with a top 100 listed company for several consecutive years. Mr. Moody is a graduate of both Morehouse College and Howard University. Today, he runs one of Atlanta's top private companies responsible for helping building several iconic landmarks such as the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, Turner Bank Baseball Field, Phillips Arena, Home Depot, and Disney, and for Disney, the conversion of a shopping mall into a luxury office space. He is a staple in his community as he has provided several scholarships, school visits, and coaching kids teams. Today I welcome Mr. David Moody.
How you doing there, my man? And I'm sitting here smiling because I'm really impressed watching you. Do you think, how old are you again?
11.
All right. So what made you come up with doing what you're doing?
The reason I started teaching kids about financial literacy is because I would go to business meetings with my dad, and I would see that they were always talking about financial literacy. And at that time, I didn't understand what financial literacy was. So I took it upon myself to learn about financial literacy and teach it to kids in a way that they could understand.
That's great. That's awesome. And can you give me 1 second?
Yes.
Excuse me, just 1 second. Sorry about that. Everybody had left and a delivery came to the door. So even though I'm the CEO and president, I still have to do whatever has to get done. So sorry about that. But let's go ahead, man. I think it's great what you're doing. My wife always says she wishes that they would teach how to balance a checkbook and things like that in elementary school and high school. So young people know the basic fundamental things about financing. So this your show. Ask me your questions.
Well, Mr. Moody, the first question I have for you is I listened to one of your interviews where you mentioned, as a kid, you would be interested in architecture. What would you say to parents about cultivating the things their kids are good at?
I think a couple of things. One, I think parents should always encourage children when they have ideas about what they want to do, regardless of how far-fetched it might, sound. If a kid says, hey, I want to build rockets, I want to be an astronaut, or, I want to be a principal of a school, whatever, we got to tell our kids, you know what, you can do that. But we also have to tell our kids, you got to put the hard work in. And, the other thing I would say to young kids, you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to wonder, can you do it? You're not going to always get the best grades. But the biggest thing I always tell folks, don't give up. Keep getting up every time you fall. And it's kind of like riding a bike. When you fall riding a bike, you get up. And that's kind of how life is. And I highly recommend you get up, keep going, but put the work in, but also have fun.
Thank you for that advice to everyone, and it's great what you and your family have done.
Thank you.
Mr. Moody, you weren't raised in a family of millionaires. How did you take yourself and your business to the next level with that background?
I think one of the things was, when we started the company, we didn't have anything. I came from a middle class family. So I never was really around any entrepreneurs or anyone who had accumulated wealth. But my dad always taught me to live beneath my means, be smart with my money, and always told me I could be whatever I wanted to be. I started a business. We didn't have any money. We just borrowed a little bit, didn't know how we were going to make ends meet, and it kind of just happened. But I was too afraid to fail. Once I started, I can't fail. My wife and my young children were dependent on me, and I just didn't want to fail. I know that might sound a little corny, but I just didn't want to fail.
Yeah, I can understand how that feels, not wanting to fail at all.
So what's next, man?
Mr. Moody, many parents think higher education is the key to success. You stated that you were not an honor roll student. I interviewed with millionaire Michael V. Roberts. He mentioned that there was a point he realized higher education wasn't going to be enough for himself or his kids. What are your thoughts on college and success?
Well, first of all, I'm a firm believer college isn't for everyone, but getting a secondary, some type of training, skilled trade or technical school, because I remember I have people work for me who finished high school, went and got a skilled craft and worked in construction in the field, and now they make over six figures. They make over $100,000 a year. So I'm one of those folks who still believe college is great for some folks, but also vocational education is excellent, especially if you like working with your hands or you want to go to a technical school and learn some things. So that's where I am. That's how I look at that situation.
Yeah, I can understand that you need college for something like to be a doctor or something like that.
Right. Yeah, there's some things where you got to go to college, but I think we put too much pressure on our kids telling them they all have to go to college when that's just not true. I mean, college is for some people, but if you like, and again, I'm going to say it, we can't find enough skilled people to work in construction, where that is a great need, and you can make a really good living, but also mechanics and, stylists, hairstyle. I mean, there's so many things that people can do working with computers, auto mechanics, plumbers. I mean, it's just so many careers that you can have and make a really good living that doesn't require college, but it does require some type of skill training after you finish high school.
Yeah. Oh. Mr. Moody, what are your thoughts on raising business-minded kids?
I think you have to help them, decide what it is they want. I mean, business-minded and understanding how to manage money is two different things. I think it's more important that we teach our kids how to manage money. And if they want to go in business, go for it. Being in business is not for everyone. Not everybody wants to be responsible for everyone. And because, making payroll every week is nothing to play with. So, and companies need, really great employees who become managers and presidents and vice presidents. So I would say I would be more focused on teaching children how to manage money, understand the stock market, buying real estate, how to balance a checkbook. Why is it important to have good credit than being concerned about teaching them how to go into business versus how to manage what you have. And I hope it makes sense what I said.
Yeah, that's a great look on it. Mr. Moody, what are your thoughts on giving kids a job in the family business first? Is that something you have done in your family?
Well, yes, both my children, adult children that work in the business. It's a, I would say it's a multi-decision. You have to know your kids. Some children it's better to send them off to work somewhere else. Some places it's, worth teaching them to work, right here from the beginning. And one of the things that Dan Cathy said with Chick-fil-A, he believed that the children, if your kids want to be in the business, have them start there instead of learning maybe bad habits somewhere else. So you just have to know your kids and then make your decision from there, which is best, to bring them straight in or have them work somewhere else. Mine came straight in.
Yeah, I believe that that most kids should have a job in the family business. Well, Mr. Moody, I actually met Dan Cathy at one of my events, actually.
Oh, good. He's a good man. Good man.
Yep, he bought all of my products.
That's good. What do you sell?
I had my activity book then, my book titled "I'm Not Going to Argue with You," and my financial flashcards at that time.
That's great, man. So what do you want to do when you become an adult?
I want to continue being a business owner, an author, and a speaker.
Awesome. You're doing a great job. And remember this, dream big, because you're going to exceed your dreams. So make some really, really big dreams. And I think what you're doing is so awesome. And the fact that you reached out to me, even though I made you let me talk to your dad first, because I'm like, all right, let me just make sure what's going on here. But hey, man, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Mr. Moody, my dad taught me that it's always good to have different mentors for different areas of your life, and that mentors are shortcuts to figuring things out on your own. What are your thoughts on having good mentors?
I think it's imperative to have mentors. I've had a number of mentors in my life. I still have some, and I'm 65 and been in business 33 years. But I still have people who have bigger companies than me, have different experiences. But a lot of people have been my mentor. They didn't even know they were my mentor. I just pick their brain all the time. So you don't really have to have a mentor program set up as much as you just need to have some good folks who'll tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, and who really want to see you do well and be successful. And you pick their brain and listen.
Yeah, I have a plenitude of mentors, and with my mentors, a lot of them don't just speak mostly to me. I like to watch some of their videos so that I can get some of that knowledge from them.
Right.
Mr. Moody, I'm working on a project where I'm raising funds for my mobile financial learning center. Are there times where you had to raise funds for your business?
Yeah, when I first started, I borrowed a little money, like $4,000 to start. And there's been times throughout where you're always, I always tell people in my industry, you eat what you kill, because you're always on the hunt. And so you're always hunting in construction, because once the project's done, you got to have another one to go to, because you don't have that reoccurring income from the same client like some companies do. So, raising money, you got to have a good plan. But I've been fortunate enough, as I made money, I kept my money in the company. And so I haven't had to really go out and raise money since I first started. I follow what my daddy taught me, which was live beneath my means.
Well, I'm working on raising funds for my bus, which I'm looking forward to having it created soon.
Good. I'm sure you'll do well.
Thank you. Mr. Moody, if a kid is interested in building construction or architecture, what are some ways to build on that?
They should, allow themselves to daydream and be creative. Be good in math. Now, most of the drawings are done on computers. When I came along, there were no desktop computers. We had to draw all day. But I think the biggest thing is just allow yourself to be creative, learn math, get out and see buildings and construction sites, and allow yourself to dream and then go for your dreams.
Okay, well, that's some great advice for some of the kids out there that are watching. Mr. Moody, what is a mistake that you have made in business?
Oh, gosh. I don't think we got enough time for me to tell you all of them. When I started in my business, I had never been a president, a vice president, or a leader in the company. So much was trial and error, just learning on the fly. I think some of the biggest errors was not dreaming big enough, not really believing I can do it, just wondering, can I do this really? I think those are the main areas. Just not dreaming big enough and believing in myself soon enough.
Yeah, those are some mistakes I hear a lot from people in business.
Oh, okay, good.
Mr. Moody, what are your thoughts on having partnerships with other companies, even if they're in the same field as you?
I've done a lot of partnerships. That's how I've grown as big as I have, because I wasn't big enough to do like the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That was a partnership. The Maynard Jackson International Terminal partnership. So I do partnerships with bigger companies, smaller companies, do a lot of work on our own, but then partnerships are very, very smart. You see a lot of companies who do that. Like when the Hoover Dam was built, it was 4 companies. I actually worked for Bechtel, which was one of the companies many, many years later. I worked for them as an architect, but they had 4 companies that worked together because it was just too big. So on really big projects or certain types of projects, it's always smart to team up with others and have your people learn and bring that knowledge back to their company.
Yeah, it's always important to have partnerships, even if they're in the same field as you, because they can help you. Reach your goal quicker.
Yep, yes, they can. And you can also, get your people trained on certain types of projects. And the thing about that, you bring that knowledge back to your company. And that's very important.
Yeah. Mr. Moody, this is my final question. It doesn't have anything to do with business, but I like to ask everyone, what is your guilty pleasure?
Eating sweets. I love sweets. That's my guilty. That and pizza. That's my guilty pleasure. My fun pleasure is hiking. I love hiking outdoors. I love being outdoors in nature and camping and that kind of stuff. So that would be my good pleasure, and my guilty pleasure would be eating desserts and pizza.
I would say my guilty pleasure is probably watching wrestling all the time.
Oh yeah, I used to do that growing up, and when my son was your age, we used to go down to Phillips Arena, and when he was coming along, we'd go see Hulk Hogan and all them. And I grew up in the 60s watching it. So yeah, I'm a wrestling fanatic myself.
Do you know Junkyard Dog?
Yep, I know all those names.
Well, for my birthday, I actually went to a wrestling event, and we went to a show called SmackDown.
Oh yeah, that's good. I actually met The Rock. I met him at the airport once when he was first getting big. And,
wow.
Yeah, I met a lot of the, and Abdullah the Butcher, a lot of the old wrestlers back, and you too young to even know who they are. But I met a lot of them, Black Atlas, a bunch of them who lived here in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's cool that you were able to meet all of them.
Yep. And keep going for it and keep doing a great job. Really proud of you, man. And don't give up on your dreams.
Thank you for that advice.
All
Sir,
right, good.
I would like to thank you so much for spending time with me and my audience today. I would love to meet you soon. I'm in Stonecrest, Georgia. Do you have any final words for the audience?
To all the young folks out there, seriously, I mean, just dream big, enjoy life, don't give up, and just go for it. The world is waiting on you, and I'm so excited to see you, see what you're doing, and for all the young folks, your future's bright. Because I was a little kid one day, like y'all, wondering, saying I wanted to be an architect, and I did it. So you're never too young to start setting your course for what you want to do.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me again. It was a pleasure interviewing you.
All right, be good.
Guys, thank you for joining us today. And remember, if Caden can, you can too.